Alright, so in this video, we're going to take a Google form and have a user submit the form and take the information and convert that to a PDF. And then if I'm not totally bored by the end of the video, we'll probably also email that PDF over to the person who submits the form, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to go pretty quickly because there's a lot to cover. So I'm going to start by doing some setup here. So 2 folders, and I'm going to create a Google Doc and Google Sheets and a Google Form. All right, so all the fields that I'm going to replace, I'm just going to encapsulate them in this brackets like this. So FN, LN, QTY, and ADDR. So an empty spreadsheet. And finally the form. So let's just preview this. So that's our form. First name, last name, shipping address, and quantity, which is what we're going to be using in this template to create a PDF out of this. And all of that right now is located in this folder I have in my Google Drive. I have a couple of empty folders here and these 3 files. Now let's go check out the documentation for Google Form events. So that's their event objects. And for Google Sheet events, we have form submit. And that's what we can get out of that. So that's good. We're going to need this. Now, before we get to that, however, let's make sure we connect our form to our spreadsheet. So select response destination and link to the spreadsheet. And just select the spreadsheet. So if you're not familiar how to do any of this stuff, I have videos covering all of this. How to create forms, link to spreadsheets, make documents. But right now, let's just test the form really quickly after we did this. So that's submitted. Let's go check out the form responses. And there it is. So now we have a connected worksheet. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one and keep this. Okay, good. So the form is ready. It's basically doing what it's supposed to do. Now let's get to our spreadsheet and open our script editor and start writing some code. I'm going to start by creating a function to make a PDF file. So we need to set some variables. So I need IDs for our PDF folder, temp folder, and template document. So let's go get all of those. So PDF folder, and all of that we're going to get from the URL here on top. And the document we're going to get from the document. And we're going to make sure we just keep the IDs. All right, so let's start by grabbing that temporary template document and making a copy inside of our temporary folder. And that will be our new temporary file. So we'll need to take that temporary file, make some changes to it, and then save it back, which is what we're going to do here. But after we do all of that, we're going to then take that temporary file and make a PDF out of it. And we want to put that PDF inside of that PDFs folder. Now that should get it as a blob, the file we have out of here, and then we'll just create a file out of that in our folder with this name. Now we need to make sure we make some changes to that document because we don't want to just make a PDF out of this. We want to replace this FN, LN, QTY, whatever with all the information that was sent to us. Now the way that information is going to come from the form is going to be in this form, or we can also get it in this form, which is array with indexes. So we can say first, second, third, fourth column. I'm going to use the object like this. So let's just have this as a reference. So these are going to be basically the column names. And column names in our case are basically these: first name, last name, shipping, etc. And apparently it comes back as an array here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to use this information in this file. So let's go ahead and open this file as a document. So we'll get the ID of the file and we'll open that as a document. So basically in this document application, set a reference to it. Now in that document, we basically have to get this body and replace all of these with the appropriate fields. Now we're going to take that body and do all the replacements. Now we need to replace the first name with this first name. So that's going to come from this info object. And that's going to give us this array. We just need the first element in that array, since this is just a regular text field. There are no multiple things in here. So I'm going to just repeat this for the rest of these. So I believe those were the names. So now I just have to match the column names from here. So once we make all those replacements, we'll just save this document and close it. And then after all of that is done, we'll make a PDF out of it, which is already done here, and give it a name. So I'm just going to run this to see if this works. This is this function create PDF. All the permissions. So now if I go check my docs, see I have this temporary docs with this. And we should have a PDF. There it is. So the PDF is done. The document is done. Maybe we could also rename the document, or we can delete the document, one or the other. I am just going to delete the document. So what I'll do here after this is done, we'll just take the temporary folder and remove the file, which is going to be this temp file. So now that we know this function works, we're just going to convert it to a reusable function. So what that means is that this, we're going to remove out of here and we're going to send it as info. And then we'll also add a file name. So I'm thinking the file name we can just do from this info right away without having to send that information. So let's just keep it this way. So let's just make the file name something out of these. So I'll just take that, the first name, and combine it with a space and combine it with the last name. For now, that should be good enough. So now we need to run this function when somebody submits the form, and we need to grab this information and create that PDF, right? So let's create a function for that. So that function is simply going to run this function. And we're going to need this info for that function to be able to do this and get what it needs out of this. This is where I'm going to go back to that documentation. So if you look here, this form submit, it's going to have this event object with name values in it, which should be this object that I need. So what that means is that I'm just going to go here and pass the event, and then my info is going to be equal to that e.named values. So now we need to make sure this function actually runs when we submit the form. So we're going to set up a trigger. So edit, current project triggers, add a trigger. And we want to run this function after form submit. That's going to be a spreadsheet event, and it's going to be on form submit. If there are any errors, we'll get daily notifications. That's fine. My pop-up blocker is not letting me do this, so I'm going to allow that and set the permissions. All right, so hopefully that whole blocking thing didn't mess up the entire thing, but it looks like we're fine. So now that we set this trigger, let's go and try to submit the form again to see what happens. And I'm going to do submit form. So that was submitted, right? Now let's go, first of all, check our spreadsheet. So as you can see, there's Linda Smith and all the information there. Let's go check what happened. Look at that. We have Linda Smith as a PDF and all that information in that PDF. So now we have a PDF from our submitted form. And again, all of that is using this template document. So if you go and change this template, that will also change the results of that PDF. Now this temp docs, I did delete that. We also need to remove this one. But we don't keep the temporary docs. We just keep the PDFs. You could keep the docs. All you had to do is just not remove this in the end. All right, so that's good. I also want to try to add a timestamp to this file name. So let's go ahead and add an extra space in here. And then some sort of timestamp. So we're going to do a new date object. And just let it convert it to string probably. That should be fine. Let's try this and see what happens. If it doesn't work, we'll have to move it to a different variable and then convert it to string ourselves. But I don't think it's necessary. So let's go check this out. That's done. Let's go check this out. This is good. So now we have our file name with a timestamp and everything. Okay, so the PDF was made. Now, it would be nice to also add a link to that PDF in the spreadsheet. So I guess let's go and add a column here. You have to be careful with this because if you're expanding your form, it's going to expand over this and it's going to overwrite this. In some cases, it might be better to put this column maybe a few columns over. Or what I actually prefer to do most of the time is not to mess around with this spreadsheet and create another worksheet here and just make a copy of what I need from here. So I can say that equals to this. Drop the end reference and do Command-Shift-Enter to do an array formula. So that way I have a duplicate of the same exact thing on this worksheet, But here, I know that I'm going to grab those columns. And if I'm changing this, at least it's going to go by these columns. So that's not going to touch our data in this spreadsheet. But that's up to you. I'm going to let you decide what you want to do about that. Now, what I want to do, I want to be able to come here and in this column, add a link to the PDF that was created. Now, to do that, we need to make sure we get that PDF back. So when we do this create PDF, we make this PDF file right here. And what we can do, we can simply just return that PDF file. Or in our case, we could just return a link to that PDF file. I don't know. So let's just return the PDF file itself. So that means now this is going to return a PDF file. So let's go and take a look at that docs to see where are we going to put the name of that PDF file, or the link, not the name. So we need to figure out which row that needs to go to. And that should be available probably in the event itself. See, it says range representing the cell or range of cells that were edited. Okay, that should work. So if we do that e.range, that would be the range of cells that was edited, meaning when it's adding this, well, actually it's doing it here, but it's going to be the same thing because we're copying it, right? But it's going to be this range. Now, from this range, if we just figure out what row that was, we should have what we need. So let's just see what the method is called. Pretty simple, get row. So if we do this, that should give us the row of our entry, I believe. I guess we'll find out if it's not. So once we figure out the row for our entry, now we need to go to our people worksheet and put that in this F column in that row. So that's our spreadsheet app, get active spreadsheet. And in that active spreadsheet, we need to get the worksheet called people, I think I called it. And then we're going to do, actually, we need to get the range first. And that should accept a row number and a column number. So the row number should be this, the entry row. And the column number is going to be whatever column it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we need to set the value of that row here to whatever it needs to be. And that needs to be the link to our PDF file. So we'll take our PDF file. And we need to figure out what the method is called again. Looks like getURL is the method. Just like that. So let's try this and see what happens again. So I'm going to save this, go back and try my form one more time. So we got this. Doesn't look like we have the link to the PDF file. Let's go check if we have the PDF file. It looks like it was still working on it, so it finally finished this file. There it is. I want to go check if that was actually finally... Oh, there it is. So it takes a little bit, apparently. It's actually in here. And if we open it, that's a link to that PDF. Very nice. We got the PDF file. We got the link. Let's actually just add the file name here too. So I'm going to move this to a variable here. And then I'm going to do this to get the URL. And then I also need the name of the file, which is going to be the next column over column number 7. And instead of get URL, it's probably get name. Since this is set name, this is probably get name. If it's not, we'll go back and figure it out. So I'm going to save this. Again, one more time, I'm going to test this. All right, all sent. It's probably going to take a little bit for all of this to populate, so let's give it some time. All right, not that long, but there it is. We got the name of the file, we got the URL. Took longer the first time. So all of that is done. I guess the only thing left to do at this point is to just make sure we email the file over. And I've just realized we don't have emails, so maybe we should ask them for their email. All right, let's go do that. So now we should have emails too. And we have to see where that appears, but it should be somewhere in here. See, there it is, the new column. Because of that, we need to move this. And this needs to change to F to add that column. And we need the name of the column, probably. And we also need to change this column numbers. So this is now 7, this is now 8. And you could do matching to figure out which column is which, but we're not going to do that. Save. We got all of that. That should be their email address, which we are going to use. Now, we're not going to use that in the actual PDF. We'll just use it in sending the email out. So for that, after we did all of this, we need to send the email. So let's create a different function here. So we're going to use Gmail app. And that should have send email as one of the methods, which is going to have where it's going to be sent, which I'm going to pass it as a variable to this function. The subject line, the body, which will be the text body. So this is the message in their email body, and in this options, we should be able to do attachments. So let's see how we do attachments. There it is. So it's an object with attachment. We even have an example here. How nice is that? Copy that, go back to this. And that was the object right in here. So this should be the actual name of who's sending this. So you can just say my company. And you don't really have to do that at all. You can just skip this. But we'll keep it. And we need the attachment. So it has a file as PDF. So basically a PDF file, which will be passing again as a variable here. Now, as I'm doing this, maybe we shouldn't have to do another function for this. Maybe we could just incorporate it here. It's not that many lines, but you know, it's up to you. So I'm going to go here and do that send email. So we need email for that person. So that's going to come out of these e-named values. And the name of the field was called that. And the PDF file is going to be this PDF file. We already have it right here. So nothing else. It should match. Okay, so now there's only one thing left to do is to test this and check our email and see if we have it. So here's our sent folder. There's nothing happening here. We're going to have to check if everything was sent once we test this. Let's go back to our form. Let's just make sure we open a new one. All right, so that was sent here. Let's see what happens on our spreadsheet and our Gmail account. So let's first of all go check our spreadsheet. So our spreadsheet has the ID with the link and all of that. And if I open this, that's the file. Very good. Let's go check our email. And nothing was sent. So what did I do? Oh, I forgot that it brings those things as an array, apparently. That's probably what's going on here. This should be 0. We'll have to test this and see what happens. Okay, unfortunately, I can't see that anything was sent. All right, so apparently the executions transcript says that it doesn't have permissions because, well, because I forgot to give those permissions. So let's do that. Run that send email function for a second. Yeah, that's fine. So it is going to be invalid, but it should give all the permissions now. Let's try it one more time, I guess. Okay, recorded. Let's go check what happened. Finally, let's check out if we have a PDF attachment. We do, and let's download it. And there we have it. To Peter Peters. We were able to email this out. Very good. So let's also go check our link. Yeah, there it is. That's Peter Peters, and responses are going here. And that's it. And that's how we can take this from a Google form to a spreadsheet, then to a Google document, then make a PDF out of it, and then put that PDF back in a spreadsheet and email it out with Gmail. All of that in a single script. And that should do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.